How do you feel about your performance tonight? Did it go as expected?
You can answer that one.
Yeah, I mean, we crammed it in within a 30-minute set, so I feel like the set tonight kind of really showed what we're about musically, going from more melodic, kind of groovy tracks all the way to the more progressive, darker side of our music with rolling bass lines and heavier melodies and chunky bass lines. So yeah,
it moved quickly through the 30 minutes, so it was a real spectrum of our sound in a short space of time. So.
Was that also the vision for your set in advance, what you really had hoped for?
Our vision for the set, I think we had a look at some of our more chilled, mellow tracks, and we thought that'd be a good place to kind of set the tone for the event, and then ended on some of our more like dance floor fillers, darker kind of groovier ones.
The main thing for us was just to showcase our sound. It's not typically the kind of set we would play when we play out with our music, because we're also selectors, so we like to play other people's music, friends' music and all that, so it's blended differently than we would have, and obviously it's a shorter duration of the set, but it's quite nice to get to do it this way.
Yeah, we've actually not played two of our own tracks back to back and like transitioned. We always have another artist in between, so to spread them out across the set.
So that's quite new.
It was a unique. It was the first time we've done that, which was good.
How do you balance that out? Bringing in new artists or other artists, or versus working?
It all depends on the venue, the promotion, the DJ before. We always want to try and get our own music, but we're big advocates of not playing our own stuff just because it's ours, and maybe leave the ego to one side and be like, is our track the right track right now? If it isn't, then we'll play someone else's. But yeah, our last set we played, we got 3 in, didn't we? For Rhythm Horizons.
It was going to be 4, but we got pushed a bit for time. But yeah, that's what I really enjoy with Adam. So we've been playing together for 2 years now. What I really enjoy about playing together, because back-to-backs are not easy, and when you're doing like an act with 2 people, is finding that balance and that
collaboration.
Yeah, the collaboration, the flow with playing. And for us, it's always about playing the right track at the right moment for the party, rather than just showcasing ourselves or whatever you'd be crate digging. So that's why it's it's very enjoyable.
That's the essence of DJing, though, isn't it? Like stripping it down. It's playing music at the right time for people, So
hopefully we do that. It's just my vision of it.
But how do you read the room, and how do you connect with the audience?
That's a good question. Putting some feelers out there, so if a track doesn't particularly work, then you can switch it up, play something a bit different, maybe speed it up, slow it down. Obviously, time of the night, you kind of have a sense of what to play, the DJ before. So like we played recently off quite a progressive house event, and we wanted to make an impact, so we went a bit more melodic techno, and I think it worked really well. It was obviously a risk, but we're also here to kind of make statements and not just we'll just play more progressive house, and then now we're competing with other artists and it might feel very samey, so we came in and it all depends.
You can generally get a feel of the party you're playing. I mean, when you know the scene a little bit in London, you can project what kind of set you're going to make. The thing we do together, we usually improvise our sets, so we will agree maybe on an opening track and something to follow, and then it's just going to be all about how does that work with the crowd and how that's working. Obviously, shorter sets, longer sets, you can explore more, but we're always talking to our sets, and we're always trying to make sure that we play what we think the crowd reacts to and what we can feel the reaction.
And that's a good point. I think a strength of ours as a back-to-back is in that middle section when we haven't really planned it and it's a bit more flexible and flowing. I don't know what he's going to play, and I'm almost responding, and I feel like that adds another layer of interest, and rather than someone who's already like sorted out their tracks from start to finish and it's a bit pre-planned. We are very much, it feels live, it feels do you know, does that make sense?
Does that always connect with the crowd as well?
I think
hopefully it does.
We generally get good feedback. I'd like to say we've not played a bad set, but maybe we haven't asked the right people.
Maybe.
What do you hope about the crowd? What do you hope the audience takes away from your performance?
Hopefully they see how much we love it. That's that epitomise. You know, we're up there having fun. Maybe sometimes too much fun. Like, he sometimes looks at me and I'm dancing away like an idiot. And it's like, come on, we've got a job to do here. But yeah, hopefully our expression and our energy, our positive energy, our high energy.
When we play our own music, it's seeing that reaction and making them, when you create that music and then you think about how the crowd is going to feel about it, and then if you can play it and feel like they get it, then it's an absolutely amazing feeling. So hopefully we manage to do some of that in our sets.
We send our own productions to friends, people in the industry. My girlfriend listens, you know, like kind of in our bubble. But they're always going to be quite positive and maybe have a biased view. So when we do play it to essentially
an unbiased
strangers,
feedback loop, basically, that's unique.
But when we do play it to like kind of strangers on a dance floor and we see that reaction, there is no better feeling.
And if the reaction is not good, you just go back to the studio and you work back on the track.
Exactly, yeah.
And talking a little bit about working on track and sampling, is that a part of your production process?
Yes, it is.
How do you decide which sounds or samples to include?
So usually I'd say it's a bit of both. Sometimes the writing process for the music can start with just finding some cool samples and building a track around it. Otherwise, where it's more melody driven, you start making the track and then you're trying to bring out the kind of like spice, the thing on top that's going to make the track more recognizable and give it more identity. So that's usually the approach we use. Obviously we use for sampling some of the bigger kind of like sound banks out there, but it's really cool just to explore as well. Trying to find more obscure kind of sounds. We use samples in French because I'm French, he's English, so we try to bring a little bit of that into the music, and it gives different texture, identity and texture to the music, so we try to do that. But yeah, I'd say sampling, it's definitely a big part of what we do, and one of our latest releases actually has got a vocal sample at like the core of it.
And also in terms of our process of making tracks, we always start with an example track that's really kind of caught our attention, that's maybe slightly different, it stands out, and we're like, well, that works so well, we want to use elements of that.
Not like copy it, but it's more about how the track makes you feel.
Yeah, exactly.
And then usually we would like start a drum loop or whatever, a bass line, and then the track ends up being completely different.
Always.
It's also
but it's
about
a good
that feeling.
Point.
It's that feeling that you get from listening to something that you really connect with.
Yeah.
When do you decide that the track is complete and finalized? How does that work?
That's the hardest. That's where being a duo is good, because myself, when I produce, I usually go down the rabbit hole and I never finish my tracks. I keep polishing, so it's really good to have another here and here, and I feel like without it,
I'm a little bit the opposite. I feel like even if it's not a finished article, get it out there. It's not growing just in our studio, so get it out there. Let's see reactions. Let's hear what people think of it, and then we can go and maybe tweak it. But if it's sat in the studio, it doesn't. I don't feel like it goes anywhere. So I'm quite proactive in that.
It's the producer's dilemma.
Well, it's a good balance.
Yeah, it's a good balance. It's been good so far.
Are there particular tensions or something special that comes out working as a duo, working two people together?
Well, definitely
you mentioned a few things already.
Yeah, definitely having 4 ears.
Helps.
It helps a lot
because
like Paul, so the studio's at Paul, so Paul will sometimes do some stuff on his own, and I'll come and have a listen, and right away I can hear a sound that maybe isn't going in our direction as a duo, because Paul produced on his own way before we came together, and like he's got a distinctive sound, and I want us as a duo to be different and go on a different path. So I can sometimes hear that, I go, no, there's a bit of Paul Giuliani in there.
Yeah,
let's kind of bring
especially
it back.
At the start when we started producing those. So I'm like, it's also the arrangements of the tracks, or now I know more where we're going, so I'd say I won't put in kind of like my little touch in the tracks anymore, and we're refining that kind of concept of us playing together as AVANTIME.
What's really good is
we
listen to each other a lot. I think it's very rare we disagree. Maybe one of us is kind of holding back a bit and we let the other one kind of take the lead, but we have a really good relationship in that. Otherwise it just wouldn't work, and we would probably we wouldn't probably be
Oh,
sat
no,
here
yeah.
like
For
there's
sure,
a lot of
but
respect.
sometimes you like well,
Yeah.
I know you can say, and we've had the situation where I work on track and I'm sending something and he's like, I don't think this is going the right direction. So you hear that and you're like, oh, okay, this sucks, but actually you realize it's right. And same for me. Sometimes I'm like, no, I think this is good, kind of this way, and I want to keep it this way, and he can hear it as well.
Yeah.
So it's a good balance, I find. Yeah.
Good. You have a release coming up. Do you want to explain a little bit more about
Yeah,
your release
so-
and any other places where we can hear you, where people can hear you?
Yeah, so I'll talk about our next gig. Do you want to talk about the release? Should we do that
Yeah,
that way?
sure, yeah.
So our next live performance, we're playing for a promotion called Underground Goer. It's on the 7th of December. It's at Bar A Bar in Stoke Newington, which is near Dalston, kind of north-east London. And that's actually our first headline show. And actually, when the promoter came to us like, "We want you headline," we were a little bit like taken back because I don't know, we're on a good trajectory, but we want to go at a pace that feels comfortable and not. Yeah, it felt like
And
a little bit.
also, the scene in London is quite. You're playing, your mates are playing. It's quite horizontal, so you don't really want to start creating
Yeah,
that.
we know
hierarchy
some of
kind
the
thing.
friends were on the
So,
lineup, and it
yeah.
felt like, oh, we're headlining on top, you know. So, but it really honoured to be doing that. So yeah, we've got Shaveen, who's also played at Patchouli Deep, one of the live streams. He's on the lineup. Vivek, Gabs, Lester, Isaac, yeah, Veneer. So yeah, that should be a really good event. We're looking forward to that.
And the release we got coming out on Patchouli Deep as well on 28th. Is it 28th then?
It is 28th. Yeah, it's 28th.
28th of November. So it's a 2-track EP. The EP is called Envisage, which is the main title track, and the second track is called Optimism. So it's kind of like one of the concepts of our music is that we always have names of tracks that resonate both in French and English. So this is the case with Envisage and Optimisme, which are also
sounds so much
Envisage-
better in French.
Envisage, Optimisme. So yeah, 2-track EP, quite different tracks. I mean, both of them work, I think, really well in the club. Envisage is a more higher energy, kind of rolling track with. It's a bit of a mix of a darker and also more uplifting kind of track because there's this lead melody element which is quite uplifting, but at the same time you have an acid kind of bass line that comes in the breakdown before the big drop, which is a little bit
makes
more,
it darker and
makes it a little bit
distorted,
darker, distorted. So it's a bit of a mix, but hopefully I think we struck a right balance between the two. So cool track, Optimism. It's a little bit more of a not as rolling. I'd say. I don't know how to describe it.
It's a bit more feel good.
Yeah. Bit more feel good.
It's got a vocal in there which is you can't actually understand what they're saying. So it's quite
Gated,
it's
vocal,
distorted, and it builds throughout the track. So it's got that kind of anticipation and mystery.
It is, and in terms of like the bass kind of elements, it's not rolling. It's more of a greasy kind of long bass. So it's a deeper kind of track, even though it has a bit of that both that uplifting and darker element to it,
which is our
a little
signature
bit
kind of.
kind of
If you've
sound,
ever seen us
at the end of the
play,
day.
we like the feel good and bringing that emotion.
Yeah.
But you got to feel a little bit of a kick, like a darkness to it that makes you like feel liberated. You know, you want to be on the dance floor, kind of feeling that. So encaptures our kind of sound, both tracks. Yeah.
Very exciting, very exciting.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
I think we're
Yeah.
5 minutes. Anything else that you want to?
No, I think that's great. Yeah, thank
Good.
you.
Thanks for
Good. No.
did a good job.
I
Like,
felt like you have so much to share. I feel like
I
we could talk
know.
forever.
Do you know what it is? Is we've never actually been interviewed, so like I feel like I've got all this bottled up, talking
This
about
worked
our
really
process.
well. You should interview more.
Yeah.
it's almost like therapy. You're getting stuff out that you never really talked about.
Nice. No,
My music partner. Cool.
Great.